I've never been to Spain before, but when I saw these croquettes, I knew I had to make them. Perfectly crispy on the outside, creamy on the inside. You simply won't be able to get enough. Serve these as an appetizer or by itself. Either way, they're sent from heaven. We got a good bit of work to do before we get to eat, so let's get started. These Spanish ham croquettes aren't like the American version. Instead of using potatoes, the Spanish croquettes have a creamy center filling of a bechamel sauce. I'm also going to be making a Bravas sauce to be served underneath the croquettes. It's going to add the nice touch of heat. It's like a spicy tomato sauce that's super easy to make. Let's get started. Oh, and before we get started, I hope I'm saying it correctly. Bravas sauce, the Spanish ham croquettes. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name in Spanish. I cheated my way through Spanish, so honestly, I'm no good with that. But for real, let's get started. Our Bravas sauce begins with sauteing a pepper and a red chili pepper. Just going to cook these down for a few minutes to let everything get softened up. Probably over the next 5 to 10 minutes. Not too long though. After your veggies have softened and you got a little bit of color on it, we'll go in there with some garlic. And we'll just saute that for fragrant, maybe 30 seconds, a minute, no longer than that. Once you smell that garlic, go in there with your seasoning. So we have smoked paprika, cayenne pepper, red wine vinegar, diced tomatoes. Mix this up and then just let this simmer over the next 5 to 10 minutes to let all those flavors deepen. And if you notice, we haven't salted it yet, so we're gonna salt it at the end. When I make other cultures dishes, I really do try to be as authentic as possible. I really try to show respect to the recipe, the country, just because I want people to do the same for me. So like always guys, if I'm missing something, leaving something out, drop it in the comments like, Ray, you missing something out. But again, like always, don't worry about writing anything down. You know I'm gonna drop the recipe, just sit back, watch the show. After those 10 minutes, go ahead and take it off the heat. And we're about to get ready to blend this up. You can use a blender or a food processor, whatever you have works just fine. Just take all that and we're gonna dump all this into a blender. Try not to make a mess and make this all splash all over me. I forgot to add an ingredient, so we're going there with just like a teaspoon of honey just to balance everything out. You can totally skip this step if you don't want it. Put the lid on and then just give this a spin. Take it off. Ooh, remember this is, ooh, that's a spicy sauce, so it's gonna get in your nose and make you sneeze. Now at this point, taste and adjust for seasoning. Cheers, y'all. Oh, that's good. That's real good. It's like a kind of like a ketchup and a hot sauce combined, kind of. Set this to the side. I'm gonna strain it so I can get all the clumps out, make sure it's smooth as possible. And the next time you see me, we'll be starting on these croquettes. Our croquettes begin with a hot pan with a good squeezer of olive oil. Going there with some butter and we're just gonna let that melt down for a couple seconds. And then we're going in there with a finely diced white onion and let that soften down, saute for the next maybe 5 minutes till right before we get some color on it. And notice I said finely diced. You don't want big chunks of onions in this because it is a sauce and we're forming it into a ball. So try to dice them up as fine as you can. And the same thing goes with the ham. Season it in layers, so we'll add a pinch of salt. And then right before we have some color, we're going there, add a little bit more seasoning, and then we'll start making our bechamel sauce. Okay, right as we're starting to see that color start to form, add one thing to it real quick. We'll go in there with just a little bit of nutmeg. I like to freshly grate mine, but the pre-grated stuff works just fine as well. Add some good earthiness to it. Give that a mix. And then we'll go in there with our ham. And unfortunately, I could not find serrano ham, which is typically used in this recipe. So we're using another cured ham, which is just prosciutto. And we'll let that cook for another minute or two. Typically it is serrano ham, but I kid you not, I went to 50 grocery stores and I could not find it. I seen it on Amazon for like 50 bucks, but I was not paying that for something I'm only gonna use once. And I figured Arizona would have it since we do have a very good Hispanic, Spanish culture here, but I guess not. So prosciutto will work just fine. After a minute, go in there with your flour and we'll make our roux. Mix this up. It's gonna start to clump up dramatically, but you want to cook all that flour taste out about a minute or two. Once everything is dried up, there's no moisture in there, we'll start to slowly add milk a little bit at a time. You're gonna try to get this as smooth as possible. Yeah, there's prosciutto and onions in it, so it won't be smooth, like super smooth. So over the next 5 minutes, just slowly and gradually add a little bit more milk as that begins to soak everything up. And once all your milk is incorporated, just continue to cook it. It should almost be like a dough-like by the time everything is heated through and warmed up. So keep on whisking. After your milk is all incorporated and it's paste-like like this, very pasty, we can go ahead and take it off the heat. I'm gonna go in there with cheese. I should have added this right when I added the milk, but I totally forgot to do that. So then just fold this in with the spatula, mix it up, and it is manchego cheese. Some really good cheese if you've never had it before. Now, this is what we want it to look like. We're all set. Now, for real, scoot this to the side. Take all of that beautiful bechamel, nice and thick bechamel. Usually it's not this thick when they make it in the restaurants, or if you're gonna actually make a sauce with it. But in this instance, we need it to be thick. And just spread it out perfectly. It smells amazing. And then you can also taste and adjust at this point. So if you want to add a little bit of salt, do that at this step, but that cheese is salty, the prosciutto is pretty salty, so I really don't think it'll be that necessary. This is the hard part of the recipe. You really wanna let that filling cool down to room temperature and place it in the fridge for a minimum of 2 to 3 hours, bare minimum. But if you could wait, overnight would be best, it would be optimal. I did this last night so I could have a swap in place. I love cooking, I really genuinely do, but I also do love my weekends, and I just do not want to be waiting for this all day. So if you have the time, you can wait, but if not, I would recommend you do it the night before. Once you see your bechamel is thick enough to hold its shape, should be a few hours. Like I said, this was the one I did overnight. You can then begin to form it into whatever shape you like, and for me, that's going to be balls. Pause. I'm super anal, so we're gonna go in there and measure them out. I'm gonna go for like 5-ounce size balls, and that should do the trick. Okay, so I was right there. So about 5, go 5.5. And then you just form them like this, roll them up to a ball or whatever shape that you're doing, and then just set them on a sheet tray right next to you, and then rinse and repeat with all of them. Here is your typical breading station. We have flour, eggs, and breadcrumb, and we're gonna batter them up in that order. Take our croquette, and you wanna be gentle with them. I formed them into discs. I changed my mind, I didn't want balls anymore. And so we're gonna coat them flour. We should get around, be gentle because they're not like super hard. You don't wanna just tear them apart. Dump them in the eggs. Oh, Dre, I wanted to stay wet hand, dry hand. Oh well. Take them and then dip them into your breadcrumbs. And I season the breadcrumbs up with just a little bit of salt and pepper. Nothing too crazy. Make sure you get it all coated. No ball spots, move it around. And then once you have them breaded up, just like so, take it, put it on a sheet tray right next to you, and then rinse and repeat. While you're breading your croquettes, heat your frying oil up to 375. I remember when we drop these croquettes, the temperature will drop down to about 350, and that's what you want to be frying at. So next time you see me, we'll be frying up. Now that your oil is at temp, go ahead and drop your croquettes. And remember not to overcrowd. How I divided them up, it only made 4 of them, so I can do them all in one batch. If you made them smaller and you have a lot more, then you gotta do more batches, you know? Now just let that fry up for 3 to 5 minutes. Remember, the inside is already cooked. It just needs to be warmed up. So once you see that outside is golden brown, remove it from the oil and place it on a wire rack. After they're looking golden brown and just beautiful like so, take them, remove them from the oil one by one. These smell fantastic. Grab your Bravas sauce and we'll get ready to plate up. To plate up, we'll go down with a layer of our Bravas sauce, which again, guys, is gonna complement our croquettes perfectly. Plating is always my favorite part. I really try to master and perfect it. So I always sit here and play with it. And then clean it up before we go to the next step. You see all this? We don't want that. And then next, go down with your croquettes. Ooh, that's hot. We'll go 2 and we'll go 3. And then to top it off, add a little bit of coolness to it. We're gonna go over the top of it with a little bit of Mexican crema. It's gonna be just a nice touch of coolness we need. Cool everything off. I'm jealous of the people that played up beautifully. I like that though, I'm not mad at it so far. Then to top it, we're gonna add just a little bit of green. Can't ever go wrong with a little cilantro. Not cilantro, parsley direct. I get nervous when it's time to plate, guys. And there we have it. We have our croquettes looking good. Let's cut into one and see what it's looking like. This looks so beautiful, I don't even want to cut into it. But let's see what it's hitting for. Oh yeah. Ooh, crispy. Get a little bit of that sauce in there. I probably should be using a knife with this as well. Oh yeah, that looks amazing. Okay, I'm done playing with my food. I'm gonna scoot y'all back and we taking a bite. I love when I make something new and it comes out amazing. Y'all wanna know a secret? Come here. Come on, come here, come here. Like 75% of the things you see on the channel, I've never made before. Yeah, I know I'm talented, but for real, I really say that just to implore y'all to cook more. Like it's that easy. When you practice and practice and practice, you get better and better. Yeah, you don't have to jump to the moon off rip, but just slowly, slowly get better. Follow the steps, follow the techniques, and you'll have perfect food every time. But enough talking. I wanna eat this, see what it's hitting for. Get a little bit of that sauce. We going big bites only. Cheers to y'all. Eat more life, not eat more life. More life, eat great food. Let's go for it. Wow, the Spanish, the Spaniard, y'all got something amazing with these. Fried cheese, how can you say no to that? Especially me, y'all know me, I love cheese, and then frying it up just makes it all that better. The croquettes, fried perfectly. The bechamel center, creamy. The Bravas sauce, the nice touch of heat really does complement it. Y'all know me, I'm not gonna overanalyze this. Make this for yourself and I promise you, you'll be feeling the same way that I'm feeling. I hope I made y'all proud. Like always, guys, I appreciate all the love and support. If you like what you see, comment down below what I can do next, what I can do different. Let's run it up, hit that subscribe button, send us to a friend, be like, ready to cook, he cooking up over there. Come back next week, y'all know I got a banger. Peace.